Welcome to Inside the Champion's Mind. This is episode 103, a show dedicated to helping you overcome mediocrity in the pursuit of being world-class in life, love, and legacy. I'm Laurence Tam, co-host of the Inside the Champion's Mind podcast, and beside me is my beautiful wife.
Karen Tam. Did I say that? No?
Yes, of course, it's Karen.
Point. Okay.
So it's episode number 3. This is the third episode. This is going awesome. This is going great. You haven't put me under the bus yet, so this is good. I'm pretty excited.
And for those of you watching the video, you will very astutely notice we are still wearing the same clothes because we're filming this right after the second one that we did. We're on a roll. We're being productive.
I thought we were trying to keep consistency. We're in the same clothes.
We're going to run out of clothes. We'll just always wear this. And then.
So last episode we talked about adversity and dealing with daily adversities, and so it's been obviously a challenge for us and the story that you had or we actually had, and if you haven't had a chance to watch that, so go back to listen to episode 102. What are we talking about today?
I don't know. No, I do know. I know while I was out, you were on a phone call. And I actually don't know anything about this phone call because we haven't had a chance to debrief or to chat. We just came onto this. So, hey, let's have a conversation with some of our best friends.
Yeah.
Pull up a chair, get a cup of tea. Tell us, Laurence.
If you're driving, don't do that.
Eyes on the road. Eyes on the road. What do you have to tell us today?
So what's been really interesting, I can't remember how this came up. Must have been through like a seminar or something that there was an idea. And the idea was that I had, or maybe someone instilled this question in me, was to kind of look back in your life and to think back what were some of the most instrumental, pivotal moments in my life. And not only, we ended up the last podcast, we talked about being thankful, being grateful, and having the gratitude for the small things in life. And I think that kind of led me to this thinking, and one of why this one episode would be really important following up from that was this being thankful for not just those pivotal moments, but also being thankful for those people in our lives that actually shifted us.
Is this about me? Is it Thank Your Wife Day?
Yes.
Is it National Thank Your Wife? It's all about me.
Yeah. Well,
this not about me.
No, this is okay, let's put it this way. This person that I'm going to want to talk about today,
yes.
I'm thankful for and changed my life in a way that allowed me to meet you. Right, so maybe it is about you. Yeah. So, anyways, thinking back about this person, I had to reflect back on who have been instrumental in my life, and then who was I really willing to kind of give thanks to.
Yeah.
And so, one of the people that actually has been instrumental in my life was my grade 8 teacher, Mrs. Antel. And the reason why that is because mostly, I think I've kind of mentioned this on several podcasts before, from the age of 5 to 9, which is very pivotal from a language development point of view. Mm-hmm. People make fun of my grammar and my spelling and in terms of English, my poor pronunciations or whatever it is. And you probably noticed that quite a few times. The reason why that's so bad, or this is what my story I tell myself anyways, is that I was born in Canada, but at the age of 5, I actually left to go to Hong Kong. My parents moved us to Hong Kong for 4 years, and which meant that I didn't get the basic fundamental of English.
Okay, so you were speaking English up until that point. I hope you were speaking by the age of 5.
Yes, I was.
Good job. And then straight away, did your parents even speak English to you when you moved?
No, I don't honestly don't remember. That's a totally
that's another episode about lack of memory.
Yeah.
But
I don't remember what we talked about like 10 minutes ago. That's why I actually started this podcast going, what are we talking about? Because I don't remember the conversation we had 2 minutes before that. So anyway, so I actually was speaking Cantonese pretty much during those 4 years, and studied in a Chinese school and learned Cantonese. So when I came back...
At what age?
At 9 years old. So I went to grade 4, year 4. One of the first things I really recognized myself was that I was back in my home country, which is an English-speaking country, that I couldn't even communicate in. Right, which was really
because you hadn't spoken English for 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. For 4 years, and
4 years.
Like little English, but not very well. So I couldn't converse with my own people, if you want to call it that. And I couldn't. The only people that I talked to were the 2 other Chinese kids that immigrated from Hong Kong in the same year, and that's how I actually communicated. And so one of the things that I really knew my strengths and my weaknesses. My strength was I was really great at mathematics at that time, because in Hong Kong they studied math at a pretty high level, so I was really good at that. But I was terrible at everything else, right? So my English, everything else. So my report cards, like from year 4, 5, 6, 7, were all B's and C student. Now that may surprise some of you, because people see me as Mr. Perfect for some reason. I don't know why, because you definitely don't.
Maybe because you keep telling everyone.
Why? If I keep on saying it, if I say it enough, I will believe in it. It's my little mantra to myself. Anyways, so for those years, those 400 years, I was really struggling at school. Other than mathematics, which was like my saving grace, I guess. But everything else, maybe sports and athletic, I was okay. It wasn't like great, but everything else, I was a B and C student. So I was getting really not great marks, and it was, and I always thought that I was going to be a B and C student.
That was the expectation you had. That's as good as it got.
This is like I'm 12, 13 years old. Yeah. Then comes Mrs. Antal, which is my grade 8 teacher. My grade 8 teacher. This is before high school, because high school for us back in Canada was year 9. And so this was the last year in elementary school. And she, for the first time, I got this report card, the very first report card that I got, I had, I think, about 10 to 12 A's. Which on top, with my mathematics being 3 of them, but yet I got A's. I was like, wow.
Did you think you had the wrong report card?
Yeah, actually.
Where you're like, start the car, run.
Exactly. It's like, take it. I'm not going to tell anybody. And then I got the second report card and the third report card. And what was absolutely amazing about that experience, like, I still remember it to this day, was like seeing that report card, and there's something like almost like a light bulb that kind of switched on in me, and going, maybe I can do this. Maybe I am smart. But that's interesting though to think, right? How, and I said to say, think back, right? If I didn't have that switch, I might have went through high school and university, maybe not even made it to university. Who knows, right? Yeah. Because since that pivotal moment in time, where I told myself, this is how powerful the mind is. At 13, 14 years old, I told myself that maybe I'm actually smart. Went to high school. From then on, from year 9 onwards, I became an honor student. I was an A student from then on. I got 80% average all the way through 5 years of high school. We went year 13. Yes, you heard it right. We had 13 years, right? Up to year 13 high school. That we don't have that anymore. Then I went to university, and it still became the 4 years of university I had was a straight A student. And in chiropractic college, did quite well there. And it's not about ego and bragging here, but it's really about the importance of that one little mindset shift in myself, and the confidence that she gave me simply by a report card. Shifted my head. So that pivotal moment, that year, was very, very instrumental to me. And I want to say thank you to her, because.
So is that who you called today? Were you calling
That's
her?
who I called today. Yeah. And
did she remember you?
She did. It took. You know how many, this, because it took me months, if not years, to find,
tracking her down.
Try to track her down, because I wanted to do this for a long time. Yeah. And so, she's back in Canada, and I had to get my dad and, the church that we went to, and trying to find her. But the problem was I had the wrong last name. Like I thought it was Anton or Ton, but it's actually Antal, which is Toa. And so I was tracking the wrong person. And so all I knew was the last name. I didn't have the first name either. And so that took a long time to figure out. And finally, someone through connection was able to find her and find her number, and I finally called her today. It was awesome. It was a great experience. It's been about half an hour talking, and she remembered me, which is really awesome. It was like I'm kind of blushing right now, but it was really great, because I got the opportunity. It was really great for me, because I got the opportunity to thank someone for shifting and changing my life. Like, honestly, if you're watching this or listening to this, Ms. Antal, thank you so much. And I know you told you several times on the phone call, but I really want to say that thank you. But more importantly, I think I also shifted something in her. Like she said to me was that she remembered me. She said I was a very serious student. Me? Serious? I don't know what she's talking about.
Wrong guy.
And I was very, very different than my brother. She taught my brother as well, who was about 2.5 years. And my brother, we're completely different people. And so we were different back then, and we're still different now. But the thing was great for her, though, was to know. And that's just where comes back to the podcast. This is where I really wanted to do. I wanted to give thanks, not because of me, but I wanted to give thanks to let her know, right, of all the thousands of kids that she have taught, she made an impact on at least one. And right?
I'm going to stop you there, because how often do we thank people? Because you think about it, we do things all the time, and we don't realize the ripple effect it has on other people. And it would be so awesome if you could think about somebody that's done something that's changed your life and to tell them that, because some days are tough and you're going through it and you're thinking, I'm not making a difference in the world. I'm not. And for her to have that phone call from you is, a tiny thing, a little thing, giving you an A, or having that confidence in you that she had the mindset that, you know what, that was worthy of you. But what a difference it made in your life, deciding who you were going to be for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we're talking like 25 years ago, 26 years ago, right? This happened. And I didn't realize it. I didn't recognize it because teachers are, and like a lot of other like nurses and all this, all those types of jobs, they're thankless jobs in a sense, like because people move on, right? After you finish the year, you move on, you got to start again. And you don't know the impact. You don't know the ripple effect of what that one person is going to do. I'm not saying that my life is perfect and, making an impact on people's lives, but, if you're listening, like I'm hoping that these podcasts are making an impact in your life. Well, that stems from her at some point, a part of her. And I said that to her. I said, you just didn't make an impact in my life, but you're making an impact on everybody who I've made, who I'm going to have an impact to from here on in. And I think that's very special. I think it's really special for someone to be able to accept that and to know that. And that's the impact. It's like, how many people have come and gone in our lives that actually made and shaped it yourself or myself or, in your life and changed the trajectory. And sometimes it's only for a fleeting moment. We think of all the people that say in families or people who've been in our lives for a long time, like friends and best friends and stuff. But what about those people who just came in your life for like 5 minutes? Or maybe you just attended one seminar, that one line, you talked about in the last podcast, like that one line that came to you, maybe someone you never even met, right? That said that one thing at the right opportune time that shifted the direction of your life. And,
Let's flip it though.
Yeah.
Let's flip. How many times in your life do you speak to your partner, your spouse, well, same thing, isn't it really? Your children or yourself, and we're not kind with what we say, or because of our expectations or what we say, and that person hears that, be it yourself subconsciously or your children, which I'm so mindful of, that they then think I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
And man, that's powerful stuff, that we can really cause somebody to think that they're not good enough in life, that they can't succeed. It happens in the classroom, unfortunately. They've done studies on it where some children are told you are brilliant and other children are told not so much. And that affects how the children will be able to progress through school and through life as well. And so I think we have to be so mindful in putting our expectations or our thoughts that this is what I'm thinking, this is how you are, telling somebody how they are, because it can majorly shift and affect their entire life.
Well, the perception, right? That's what we're talking about. And she told me, and I didn't know this obviously because I was young, right? I was 13, 14. She told me she was actually a hard marker. So she wasn't an easy marker. She wasn't giving people A's all the time, but she was a hard marker. But she must have saw something in me, or she had that expectations of me. And she actually told me a story. For those people in Toronto or listening from Canada, she told me that she actually taught at a school prior to the school that she taught at. I went to St. Agnes and a small little school, but the school that she taught before was in Jane and Finch area. And Jane and Finch area is known in Toronto to be a very, very rough area of town. Like it's one of the drug, is very known as one of the drug areas of Toronto. And she went to, she taught in a school, let's call it like a ghetto type of school in the kids. And one of the things that happened, she taught, and this is where she got her realization, was when she was teaching her school, all the kids, those young kids, I think she was teaching grade 4 or something, were winning science fairs, which is totally unexpected. And people were going like, how is it possible for these,
because their expectations were so low of these kids, and these kids were meeting their expectations.
Exactly. Like, how do these kids win science fairs when they come from a school in the Jane and Finch area? They come from, these are kids who have come from broken homes or whatever. How can they be smart? Like, that's the expectation of people. And this is what you're talking about. And I thought, and she made her switch in her, by knowing, well, I didn't expect anything less. Like, I expected them to be smart. And that's the key, isn't it? Like, this is the whole effect of how we perceive of our mind, of expectation of ourselves, our kids, or our partners, or anybody else. That is actually changing our life and how it shifts in the direction of all those lives. And you mentioned that several times, is that we have these expectations of our kids, or what they perceive, or even people in general, and they will behave, but we will perceive that behavior based on our expectation, not actually the behavior itself. And that's the filter that we have, which is very dangerous, right? In one aspect, but also, so you got to be very careful of the filter, because that's something you can change.
Yeah, because it can be quite stressful as well for children. You can even think, I'm being very positive with my child. You're so smart, darling. You're so wonderful. You always do fantastic, which is a nice pat on the back. But at the same time, you're setting up in their mind that you only accept them or you're only happy with them when they're hitting all these high marks. And let's face it, in life, there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. We're not always going to, some of our best learning comes from when we fail and we learn from that. But we could be programming their mind to think that we can't accept that or we don't love them. And people put thoughts like that into their mind. I'm not good enough or I'm not loved unless I meet these requirements. And you've just given me that checklist.
Yeah. I got to say, the hardest thing as a parent right now, like in today's age, and I still don't know really how to deal with this, is how not to congratulate your child on everything that they do, right? So, for example, like Christian comes up and goes, "Daddy, look at this. What do you think of my drawing?" And it's crap, right? And what do we say? "Oh, that's a beautiful drawing," right?
It's beautiful.
But it's but be honest, right? Think about this, right? It's like we can say, when something's not. For example, they might say Kyle might have written a poem, or Christian might have done something. It's to the best of their ability. But if we congratulate everything and not correct them and say everything is perfect and everything is beautiful, the first sign, and we will expect this with, especially I think with Kaya, is that if
they have adversity.
If there's something that happens, then a challenge comes up. They're going to be. They don't know what to do with that.
They won't have the tools to deal with it.
And which is a very challenging thing as a parent to not overcompensate. And so we've been very cautious. We talked about this, right? One of the challenging things that we had to do was to say things like, when he goes, "Are you proud?" Rather than saying, "I'm proud of you," it's rather than saying, "Are you proud of yourself first?" Like, it's more asking that question to the child. It's to Kaya, like, "Are you proud of yourself? Like, are you proud that you created this? Are you proud?" Because it's more important. I think it's more important that they're proud of themselves versus that what their parents are proud of.
Looking to external sources for validation.
That's right.
Which is, adults, I know I do that. I'm all the time going, "Is this okay? Is this fine?" And I hate it. I hate it so much when you flip that on me and you're like, "Does it really matter what I think?" Yes, it does. It does matter because I have bled and I have sweat over this. Please be a cheerleader, but. I've probably been conditioned that way, and it is important that we can stand up for ourselves and be happy within ourselves with what we've done. And it is difficult, I think, as a parent trying to navigate. You want to praise them enough, but then you praise them too much. You can't be negative. It's a bit of a minefield.
It's a minefield, and that's why I'm saying it's a challenge. I know it's a challenge for me, so I imagine it'll be a challenge for a lot of people because it's that whole expectation of what we set up. And I can guarantee you, I've recognized this when I was in Ireland. One of the things was the insight that I got was. I look for validations, right? I'm looking for external validations all the time. And that's a downfall. Like, it is an actual downfall because although you're seeking, you want to know whether or not you're doing things well or not. But at the same time is that if I'm only doing things because of an approval of someone, like whether you approve me or whether
people on this podcast
approve, yeah, exactly,
approve of us,
yeah, like I remember.
Please keep it coming.
5-star ratings only, it's all those things. Like it's hard, and that's why one of the reasons why I actually don't. I asked you guys to comment, and I asked you guys to give us ratings, for example, on iTunes. But I got to be honest, I don't actually check it. Especially for this podcast. I don't. And here's the reason why. I do this podcast, this Champions Mind podcast, for me. Like, I actually do it because I feel there's something about this. There's passion in me. I actually have no idea if anybody's listening, and I have no idea what people think. The comments that they got from your episode, from the episode 101, has probably been the most comments we've ever gotten for any show that we've done in the last 4 years.
Now, is that because you're actually looking for them?
Because I actually
for them on that one?
Well, I also wanted you to feel that validation, and maybe that's a bad thing or not, but I wanted you to know that, hey, you were great on it, so I wanted to let you know without me just telling you, because then you could just say, yeah, but you're just saying that, right?
Yeah, whatever.
But I wanted people, and I do, trust me, it doesn't mean that I want comments, guys. Like, please keep the comments coming because it does help us shape the show. However, is that now, though, the difference is that I'm listening. I love for your feedback. However, I'm going to do what I want to do with this podcast. Regardless of what, yeah, exactly. Regardless. And listen, let's face it, I'm not 100% right now. Like, I'm still working at that. But I've spent a lot of my life looking for validations from people. And, you both, I have talked about this in terms of, and it's not just in the podcast world, it's in anything that I've done. Like, I'm always constantly looking for, mentors. This is one realization I had. I was literally looking at my mentors, and this is the thought that goes through my head. It goes, I hope he says that I'm awesome. Like, I hope he says that, you're doing a great job. Who does that, right? I know maybe everybody else does, but that thought and going, oh my God, that is not a good thing, right? That I need to want approval from my mentors or my certain significant people in my life to tell me whether or not I'm good enough to do something.
It's a big realization.
It was a huge realization that I had, and then recognizing, you know what, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether my best friend tells me I'm awesome. It doesn't matter that my best,
But you know what? That's so hard to say it doesn't matter because, oh man,
I'm not saying it's...
No, it's not easy.
It's so hard. Like, I'll be perfectly honest with you.
We are not perfect.
The thought is, saying that it's...
Yes, it's easy to say it, but then to feel it emotionally, to connect those two.
I'm dialing it up. I'm working at it. I don't know. It is a very difficult thing. And
you know what? It's that whole perfectionism thing, because we talked about, I think, in episode, the first 101,
Yep.
we talked about that we are going to screw our kids up no matter what. And I think about DeMartini and some interesting other people that we've talked about as well, that you can in life look at things that are very negative and just say, that ruined it for me. My father didn't love me enough. He didn't talk to me, and now I'm a victim, and this is who I am. But to everything, be it positive or negative, there is a balance to that. So, for example, my father was a workaholic. And, for the longest time, I was really upset about that. I couldn't let go of it because I thought, he missed out. He missed out on moments with me. He didn't know how special I was. We could have bonded. We could have done things, but work came first. And, now as a parent, I can see it through a different filter. I can see that, you got to put food on the table. You got to put clothes on the kids. You got to put a roof over your house. You need to pay the bills. But at that time, that wasn't important to me. What was important to me was that he was choosing something over me. On the flip side of that, if we look at, you can say, oh, poor me, horrible things, but on the flip side of that is now that I've looked at it, how much time I spend and I give to my family and to my children, and how cognizant I am of that. Yeah, and you know what? That puts me in a place of being thankful to my father for teaching me that lesson. Because if he hadn't been that way, perhaps I'd be doing that with my kids. Perhaps I'd be on the phone, or I'd be busy doing other things. I choose not to. I'm blessed. I don't have to work. I don't have to go out and get a job. I'm blessed by that. And I'm thankful for that, because it allows me to be with my children and for them to know that they're important to me and that I put them first.
Yeah, and that value came from that, right?
Something that was very negative, that I've then looked at it with a different filter and thought, thank goodness I had that experience, because that has formed the amazing relationship that I have with yourself or with the children because of that. And flipping it.
And it's also, you're very aware of that consciousness to help me too as well. Like, I don't think I'm a workaholic. However, there are times where I'm focused. Like, there's been years where I'm so focused and you pull me up on it. It's like, like we talked about that in episode 101, like, get off that phone. Like, put that phone
because
down.
I think that's emotionally linked with me.
Yes.
It's a very emotional.
Strong.
It's strong.
Yeah.
It's strong. And so then that has turned into something that I value. And when we value things and we're focused on what we value, then we make sure those things happen, or we try to ensure that those things happen as well.
Yeah. And let's face it, like, I've chosen a career, like literally, like, where chiropractic, I could choose my own hours. But however, I still have to be there those hours. And unfortunately, when I was in a practice where I was in suburbia, which means that I have to work after people get home, so which I came home like 7:30, 8 o'clock on those nights,
and the kids were already in bed,
so I recognized that, and that's one of the reasons why I sort of left practice, was because I wanted to kind of be at home. However, that also created a just a totally separate problem, which means it allows me to have to forces me, but I choose to travel, which I absolutely love to do, but it does take me away from family. But the kids don't understand that. Like, their perspective is, I'm sure, Kyle, Christian, if you listen to this like 10, 15 years later, like, they don't understand. They're sort of saying
they don't understand why
I have to travel so much, or why I have to be away, or why do I have to work so late, or so on and so forth. And they don't understand. I didn't understand when I was young. And there's a story that they tell themselves. I'm very I'm trying to control the narrative as much as I can. I don't know whether or not it's going to sink in, but they're going to believe what they're going to believe in. And that's where we meant, that we meant when the first episode, a couple episodes ago, we said that we're going to screw our kids no matter what. And you try one thing, it's going to they're going to interpret the way they interpret, and I can't ignore that feeling.
And we can't know how they're interpreting it.
Exactly, because they can't voice out that emotion at the same time. And so they're going to choose to believe certain things. So where most dads have to work, they have to get into Sydney, or moms. Yep. They have to, take an hour to get to Sydney, or for example, work all day and then come home an hour, and then both parents have to work, and they're going to interpret that. But our kids don't like they see you, all the time in a sense that, and because that's the life that we chose, but they don't know any other difference. So they're only comparing them what they're comparing themselves to. So I think, we put this pressure on ourselves sometimes to say like, trying to create the perfect family or the perfect
and there is
situation.
There is no such thing. It's finding what works for you as a family, that works for you and your spouse and your children, and that you are meeting everybody's needs or your values are. And that's going to be different for each person. And it's really difficult, as we talked about in the last episode, is when you go on Facebook and you see all these pictures that people posted about all these wonderful family moments, and you start thinking in your head, like, they've got the perfect family. Like, they are always smiling. There is never fighting in this house. Like, it is like music and roses every time they go anywhere. And it's not. Let's be honest. It's not perfect. And everybody has their own struggles. We're just not privy to those struggles.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter like how successful. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to kind of hang out with some top entrepreneurs and top business people, and from people who are successful in their own right, but some people who make tens of millions of dollars. And to be honest with you, they have the same problems, like just in a different context.
Yeah.
If they have problems in their life, they have problems in their relationships, they have problems in they can make $10-100 million companies, but they feel like they haven't created a legacy. So it doesn't matter. And this is why, we compare ourselves to people we don't know. And then we say, oh, that's how our expectation to live. And not realizing that their issue is just as bad. It's the same. It's just in a different context.
So I think what we need to do is also help people know that we need to hear thanks. And so I brought another prop because I'm ready for this today.
Oh, man, you and your props. Like, what is going on? Now that we made this videos, this is exciting. We can force you to watch
this. This was on Facebook yesterday, and there was a woman, and I don't know if you know her. Do you know her? Do you know what
I don't even know what we're talking about.
Okay. She has created tiara time. Now, ladies, this could change our lives. When mommy is wearing the tiara, you are not allowed to disturb mommy. So it's 5 minutes of being a princess that you can read your book, have a glass of wine, have a coffee. Mommy's got the tiara on. Mommy's in 5 minutes, timeout zone, recharging herself. And then that allows you to be thankful for all the things that mommy does. But I don't want you to feel left out, Laurence. So I've taken it a step further.
Oh, no.
And I think that dads should be able to do it as well. Because let's face it, moms aren't all the ones doing the work. Daddies need a break as well. And so I know I don't want to make you look silly because I need to make sure I've got something just as good as that gold medal I gave you. So I'm in the theme of the Olympics. I've come up with
don't ruin the hair. Oh my God.
No, it's perfect. Look at this. It's a leaf of laurels that you can wear, that you are king of your domain. And when you are wearing this, the children know, they see it visually. This is good. They see it visually. They know Daddy needs 5 minutes. Now, we can't wear this at the same time. There's got to be rules to wearing this. So this lady, whoever she was, shout out to you. I think you're onto something. In fact, I might even wear this to pick up the kids at school because I think it's a bit glam and a bit bling.
This is like the cone of silence.
Do you know where I got this from? I got this from Kaya's cupboard because she's got about 10 different tiaras, and she lent me the one that she thought looked the best today for that.
Oh, really?
So,
wow.
So it's a way to people can know. I'm letting you know this is my time. And after my time, you can thank me because you'll realize in that 5 minutes how much I do. So ladies, gentlemen, this is my helpful tip to you today that I've stolen from someone off of Facebook and implement in your house.
See how Facebook is good.
It is. We get lots of great ideas off of that one.
Well, listen, this is a surprise, and for those of you listening to the podcast, you're gonna have to go and jump on YouTube and watch this episode so that you can actually see
the tiara and the crown of laurels.
Yeah. So this episode's been, it's been on. Went off on many tangents, but I think the key element, just to summarize, is maybe think back in your life and think back to the one person or the couple of people that has been instrumental in your life, that has shaped you to who you are, and maybe go back and actually try to reach out. Like, it took me a long time to reach out, and I'm very thankful for this day. And I'm going to send this podcast to you, Mrs. Nantel. I hope that you get a chance to listen
lovely to meet you with my crown.
Yeah. And and I think that take the chance, take the opportunity to go back, and I think it will shape you for who you are for doing it, but I think it will also mean a lot to the person on the receiving end. I think when you're able to receive a thank you and know that you made a difference in this world, even if it's just for one person, I think it would change your perspective on life, and I think it would help them. I think everybody will benefit. So, it's a win-win situation. So,
and I think it benefits your own family as well, because when you realize what other people have done to you and how it affects you, you're more mindful of what you're saying and how you're being with your family.
Yeah, I think so. And the second thing I think was that perception. Be very cognizant and be self-aware of the perception you have on others and the expectations that you have of others, because what your expectations of them might actually dictate what the story you tell yourself about them. So that's very key. Just another reminder, guys, September 10th and 11th, don't miss out. I don't know when this episode is, so it must be coming up soon, because by the time you see this episode, so therefore you want to make sure you be in Melbourne on September 10th and 11th, because we're going to be there, the King and Queen. Maybe wear this on the award nights, maybe. So. Well, we'll be there. I'll be speaking. We'll be speaking. Best outfit, yeah. We'll be wearing our togas. We'll be there, and make sure you come out and join us with Tim Robards. We got the Merrymaker Sisters, obviously the Wellness Guys, Damien and Brett, and up for the chat girls, Karen Smith, Kim Morrison, and confirmed Sydney O'Meara is going to be there. Carol Brock's going to be there. It's going to be a fantastic 2-day event on wellness and hang out with like-minded people. We'll be around, and we'll be there to kind of chat amongst the people too. But more importantly, go to facebook.com. I know I talked about comments in this particular episode, but please do leave your comments, because I'd love to just hear back feedbacks. I'd love to know how the direction of the show is going to go. We're still in early days, even after 4 years, we're still changing directions now that Karen's joined us as a co-host. So make sure you go to facebook.com/Inside Champions Mind. Like it, share it. Please share these episodes with other people. That would be fantastic for you to do that for us. Make sure you go to thewellnesscouch.com, listen to us there or subscribe to us there. Go to iTunes, subscribe to us, give us comments and ratings, which I will probably never read, but it's helpful, because the more ratings you get, it's helpful for other people to discover us, and that's what's most important. I just really want to make an impact on other people. So on that, September 10th and 11th, go to thewellnesssummit.com, enter the promo code LT100. That will give you $100 off, and that should help you on your way to spend a couple of days with some amazing wellness speakers. This has been Inside the Champion's Mind, a show dedicated to helping you overcome mediocrity in the pursuit of being world-class in anything you do, especially in life, love, and legacy. I'm Laurence Tam.
And I'm Karen.
We'll see you on the next episode. Take care. Is there a gap to where you want to be to where you are right now? I'm Dr. Laurence Tam.
And I'm Karen Tam, and we are the hosts of Inside the Champion's Mind. We're shooting a very special message for you today. We were outside. The wind was blowing my hair. It was very messy. I couldn't see anything. And I thought, we're going back to the Champion's Lair because we need to tell you about something. Now, I know a lot of you might be feeling in life that you're maybe lacking a little bit of clarity. Perhaps a little bit of direction, not knowing where you want to go, or you do want to create a legacy and you're not sure how to go about it, because let's face it, we live in a busy, very windy world, and it's important that we have the time and the space to think about what we need to think about and to get where we need to go with the right people.
Well, it's also too that I think that a lot of people out there is also have this feeling that they're playing small in their life. That they know that there's so much more that they can give deep inside. There's something that they can stretch themselves, not just to give to others, but to share with others too as well. And they're trying to figure out what that is.
Because it's really hard to do it on your own, isn't it? Because in life, we get so busy, we get distracted. And when that happens, we're disconnected. We're disconnected from ourselves, from each other, for our family, and with our friends as well.
Well, and that's the thing. It's about creating that space and being in the right environment, and also being around people that allows you to find that inspiration. And I'll give you the tools and strategies to help you develop that. Not just the inspiration that will pull you, but you want to be able to create the right motivations each and every single day to push you as well. But more importantly is to have a plan of action to build momentum. Momentum is really critical here, is because it allows you to create this consistency day in, day out for longevity to create the legacy that you want.
And there's no point worrying right now if you're thinking, it's too late, I've missed the boat, I woulda, coulda, shoulda. Doesn't matter, the past is in the past. But having said that, life is small. It's finite, it's not infinite. So when are you going to make a difference? When are you going to decide that you're going to put yourself first, that you can no longer live with having those gaps in your life?
Well, this is why we created the Podium Retreat. The Podium Retreat allows you that space, that environment, hanging with the right people, and also giving you the tools and strategies to allow you to help you rediscover yourself, connect, and really discover long life relationships with your friends, with your loved ones. And it's about helping you craft that legacy that you desire, the legacy, the life that you want to know, that when you leave this earth, that you know that you created a life that mattered.
And it's happening right now, this year, one time only in November for a few select people. So if you are interested,
please go to InsideTheChampionsMind.com. That's InsideTheChampionsMind.com. It will give you all the information that you need to make a decision on why you should come to Podium Retreat. If this has intrigued you in any way or resonates with you at all, please go to InsideTheChampionsMind.com and find out more information. I hope to see you there.